Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room live stream with myself, Menti, and Presley, our new joiner with ourselves. We have Hassan too, who's just joined back. I'm going to add him in here now, which is fantastic. Hassan is here as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the stream as well. Just before we get into Everton, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It really helps out the channel. If you have done so, we very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so, make sure you have your notifications on as well for all future videos and streams. We will be live with myself after the game tomorrow at about 5 p.m. UK time. We have a 3 p.m. UK time kickoff, and then we'll have our regular Saturday evening stream with Richie as well at 7:30 in the evening. But we have some fresh blood with us today in Presley joining us for the first time. Everybody's familiar with who Menti and Hassan are, and you're sick of seeing my face at this point. But Presley, welcome to the stream. Your first one on. How are you feeling, man?
Yeah, excellent. I mean, it's a nice time to be on, but yeah, can't wait.
Good. It is a very nice time to be on. This is getting into squeaky bum time now for the rest of the season, and there's what I believe there's 11 games left, including the one tomorrow for Premier League games anyway, meaning that this is quite literally the final home stretch of the Premier League season. And there's only... also, we witnessed, for anybody that wants a bit of a downer on a Friday evening, the game against Southampton midweek was Jurgen Klopp's last ever home FA Cup game. Just in case nobody knew about that. That broke my heart yesterday when I seen that news. But Hassan, how are you, my friend? We lost you for a little bit, but now you're back. It's I know you're like 6-7 hours ahead of us at the moment, so it must be like 3 a.m. where you are right now. How are you? How are you feeling over the week? How's everything going?
I'm fine. I'm feeling really good after the Carling Cup and now, Carabao Cup and Southampton. It was really good the way the youngster performed, and a really special night.
It really was. I was sat beside my girlfriend and my cat was asleep beside me. And when that Van Dijk goal went in, I think I let out such a roar. I think the neighbours thought that there was a bit of a domestic going on. Thankfully, there wasn't that sort of a situation going on. The cat shit himself and just ran sprinting across the room because I nearly flipped a coffee table into a flat screen TV. I went that mad. Menti, my friend, long time no see. We used to be always on a Friday together, and now we're back again. The dream team is back together. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good, boss. How you guys doing, man? I mean, pretty excited since the last time we've been on. We've been scraping wins, still at the top. So I've been pretty happy. The academy kids are bossing it, so pretty exciting times for us. So we got a crucial March. If we get through this, it's going to be a good month for us. So yeah,
exactly. It's the old age answer to the question of what fixes everything, and it's just win. What was it? Was it I don't know if it was Jimmy Garoppolo that said it himself, but just win, baby, or feels great, baby. But look, I don't like Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. He's a dickhead. But I'm a fan of the NFL, so I sometimes bring it in. Yes, and Everton on. So I'm a 49ers fan. So I've had enough heartbreak for a lifetime from being that fan base. But we'll get into our game tomorrow and a couple of injury updates, thankfully. We've Paul in the chat as well. Good evening, Paul. Good evening. How are we? A couple of updates on injuries. Jurgen Klopp was in press conferences today. Mentioned that Dominik, Szoboszlai and Darwin Nunez were in training today with, I believe, Andy Robertson and Endo to train later after the press conferences today, meaning they would have trained already at this point, and are hopeful for tomorrow as well. McAllister should be there tomorrow. They're hoping Nunez and Szoboszlai will at least make the bench tomorrow, maybe even start if all things go well. But he did rule out Mohamed Salah, meaning that Salah is essentially going to miss tomorrow and hopefully be back next week for the Man City game. But with that being said, Menti, there is a sort of calm over the fact that we have so many injuries, which is hilariously quite the contrast to what we've had in previous seasons, where, Paul, switch to Packers if you want to start winning. You mean the team we bet? We can talk about this all day, Paul. But back to the injuries, Menti, it seems, maybe it's me and the fact that I'm just numb to it at this point, but I'm not really worried about Mo Salah missing this weekend, and I'm not really worried about him missing the Man City game, considering the form that we're in at the moment. Maybe I'm just being numb to the fact that he could very much help us win that game, but considering our form at the moment, I'd take anybody.
Yeah, Yeah, usually like last year when we had all those injuries in the midfield, obviously it was just like completely different scenario to this. Just because this year the academy has been incorporated, so I'm not really too worried about the injuries. And I really think they're just saving Mo Salah for the City game. I know he's probably fit right now, but knowing Klopp, they just need him fully fit for the City game, and that's probably like that game. I think will decide our season, whether we get a result or not. That's up to us, and it's at home, so we usually tend to get a draw or a win. But yeah, no, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, these academy kids are bossing it, so it's like one by one they're gonna slowly start coming back. And we should beat Forest. I mean, they're a tricky team away because they're pretty good at the counter. Like when we played Southampton, for instance, they had a couple of scenarios where they should have like finished it off and they didn't. We can't be given that chance in Forest because I feel like they're a little bit more clinical. They got better wingers as well as a striker that used to play for us. What's his name? I forgot. Awamiyoni. I don't know how to say his name. But yeah. So he's pretty clinical. Honestly, and I'm just happy about Dan's. I'm not a Gakpo hater, but honestly, start him over Gakpo. That's just me.
Well, see, the thing about Gakpo is the man, first of all, has had a horrid start to the season, and I've seen this, and I think the hate that's been on Gakpo, and I personally have had a little bit of hate on him as well, and I feel it's a little bit unjustified following reading this. The man has played out of position. He's had to sit behind Darwin Nunez, who just lit the world on fire this season, which is understandable. Like, you have to play the informed player. He's played in midfield, he's played left wing, he's played right wing, he's played centre forward, he's played striker, and he's played in every position. He's been a gadget player almost. He still has 11 goals and 4 assists while doing all of that and helped us progress an awful lot through the FA Cup. So I agree with you in that maybe we don't start him. To be honest with you, I would start him on the left wing. I would start Dan's in the middle, and I would start Harvey Elliott on the right wing. And the only reason maybe I wouldn't actually start Harvey Elliott myself is the man has put in a shift the past 3 games. He's done 120 minutes on Sunday, and then he's done a nearly full 90 minutes in midweek. So I'd nearly just be like, wrap you in bubble wrap. You're sitting out this week. That kind of way. Presley, a couple of your thoughts on the injury situation as it is at the moment. Like we realistically at the moment, I'm not worried, which I find oddly unsettling. It's almost like being a calm Liverpool fan is weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think over the past few years, when you think back to the Reece Williams and Nat Phillips years, you know, the midfield ones last year, there's a bit more of a calm. And I think that's because of the youth academy coming through. I think now there's a bit more stability. We know who's coming through, the confidence that they have. And with, for example, Dominik, Szoboszlai and Nunez coming through, and Robertson and Endo, with Robertson having illness, he could well play. And now that we've got Endo, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and the field's back, and defensively we're sound. And I think Szoboszlai adds a bit more experience now that he's back. Same with Nunez, and I think Nunez will hopefully replace Gakpo. But yeah, I think the academy's providing a bit more stability and security now that we've got all these injuries.
Yeah, it's actually I've never being a 49ers fan and being a Liverpool fan, you're not allowed to be calm. Everything is just your heart rate's at 120 beats a minute, and
highs and lows.
Sunday is the prime example of it. Like, I went into that game and I was like, I have zero expectations for this. I think we may lose this game purely because we're playing a bunch of kids. And then all of a sudden, Van Dijk scores his first header, which was 100% legitimate goal, by the way. Scores his first header. I go nuts, and then it gets ruled offside, and I just slump back into the couch, and I'm like, this is just not going to go our way. And then 117th minute, he bangs it in for the header that wins it, and I think I fell to the floor in much the same manner that he did. I was just pure exhausted from it. Hassan, like, realistically, with the injuries that we have at the moment, are you worried at all about the timeline on certain players to come back? The likes of Trent, the likes of Alisson, who aren't due back until after the international break. Which, hilariously enough, did end up missing the quarterfinals of the FA Cup because of that, now that the Everton game has been pushed on. But with the likes of Bradley, the likes of Kelleher, shout out to my own countryman, the likes of Kwanzaa, McConnell, Clark, Dans. Who else am I thinking of? Comas as well. There's so many players that are there that realistically can hold down the fort at the moment rather than having to rush players back, which could benefit us in the long term, considering we don't have, in my opinion, on paper anyway, the easiest run-in of all time. Like, we would need those players then. So is there anybody at the moment that you'd like to see back a little bit quicker than what we're expecting at the moment, or are you happy enough with how things are?
Because I think because of the form of the academy players and the French players, I think that has helped us a lot. I think if our form was not there, this good, and we lost a couple of games in between, maybe we had to rush the players back in.
Mm.
I think the season we won the Premier League in that. In that season, all the players were chipping in with the goals. Shaqiri was doing it, Minamino was doing it, and Nico Williams was coming in. He was performing, and everyone who came in performed really well. So, like in this season, I get the same vibes that the players who are called upon are doing a really good job. That's why we are calm with our players. We are giving them proper rest to recover. Um, uh, it's crazy that the I think the best 11, which we think have not played a single game together. We always have to bring in some other player. I think the best team would be Allison, Trent on the right, Ebo and VVD and Robertson, and in the midfield, Endo, Szoboszlai, and McAllister, Diaz, Nunez, and Salah. But I think we have never played that 11 in any game. So we have always put in the players, and they have performed really well. And everyone who has came in has performed up to, I think, more than the expectations.
Yeah, I think they're exceeding expectations, an awful lot of the young guys. Like, you even seen it with Trey Neone that came on. Like, the kid's a Liverpool fan. He was at Leicester's academy, and then we brought him over for a couple of $100K. And you could just see him on the sideline. Like, he looked like any single one of us that was about to get ready to come on and play for Liverpool. Just he tried to hold the smile back. You could see it, and he was failing so miserably. I'm just looking at a couple of the comments here. So we have Helier mentioned here, I guess it's time to remind all fans that in the Premier League era, the Reds have made the trip to the City Ground 7 times, but they've only won there once. It's not a walk in the park. Never said it was going to be a walk in the park, Helier. I just mentioned that I quite like our form at the moment. And also, on that topic of possibly losing to City, with the way the games are going at the moment, City are 1 point behind us. Winning against them will put us 4 points clear while on the same level of games. As it is right now, Arsenal will finish on a maximum of 91 points. Liverpool can finish on a maximum of 96 points. And City can finish on a maximum of 92 points, I believe. So, but with the Arsenal and the Liverpool points totals, I was sat at a table doing this maths for like half an hour the other day. So, with the Arsenal and Liverpool maximum points, that essentially means that City lose a game because Arsenal play City and we play City. So, if City lose that game either between ourselves or Arsenal, which I highly see them doing one or the other, if even both, wishful thinking, because it's City. But if that is the case, City would then finish on, I think City would finish on, so City's maximum is 94, but they'd finish on 91, meaning that we could still lose to City and win by 2 points at the end of the season if we win out following that. If City take a loss to Arsenal and Arsenal finish on their points. So it'd be 94, 92, 91 between all three of us. And wouldn't that be nice for a change, winning a close battle like that rather than by 25 second points by March? But it is a question that we need to go, but every game is important. And realistically, Helier, I don't care how we win the game. I don't care how we get the points from the game. Even if we get a draw at City, I don't necessarily care because that's points taken away from them, meaning that we're still in the driver's seat and control our own destiny, and we don't have to worry about other teams. Every other previous season, we've had to worry about other teams and what they would do. The quadruple season, we had to worry about Philippe Coutinho saving us again, which he nearly did, all credit to him. Broke my heart sat in the pub watching that game. I won't lie to you. But thankfully, this season, we're in the driver's seat and we don't have to worry about other results. We only have to focus on ourselves and not care about anybody else. And Tottenham do have a huge say as well, as Nick's The Streets Are Buzzing here mentions as well, that they have Arsenal, Liverpool and City to play. They play us at home and we have a very great record at home. I'm nearly sure City have to play them away and Arsenal have to play them away. We've seen what happens when you go to visit Spurs, like refereeing shenanigans occur, but we won't mention anything. Jen, thank you so much, member for 18 months. Jesus, how have you put up with us for that long? Big up, boys. Thanks so much, Jen. Always a great contributor to the channel. We really, really appreciate all your contributions. It's very much appreciated. And we can all laugh at Harry Kane because Freiburg are currently beating Bayern Munich. And it's just the Harry Kane effect.
He ain't going to get silverware.
Oh, it's brilliant. I think it's hilarious. And I don't know why Tuchel is being kept on that job either. That just boggles my mind. He should be just put on gardening leave. But we have a question here from Paul. I'll throw it your way, Presley. If we play Everton at the back end of the season, and we've already won the league, I love the optimism here, Paul, and Everton need the points for survival, would you play the kids and go soft on Everton, or would you put them in the ground like the dogs there?
Well, I think, to be honest, I'd throw the team at it. You know, it's a rivalry. You can't, let your rivals win. Put your team out, let them do the job. There's no point letting your rivals win a game. I'm just going to keep it blunt and simple like that.
I 100% agree with you. I'd rather I'd nearly try and convince Forest to let Divock Origi walk so that we could sign him on a free for the last 2 games of the season so that he could put Everton into the championship. It'd be the funniest thing in the world. Jen, again, Jesus, thank you so much for the £19.99. It all goes towards the channel and making better content for you guys, but that is very, very much appreciated. You're too kind, Jen. We really do appreciate it. You're contributing now towards the next manager's summer transfer window, as you did with the previous transfer windows. Last summer went very well, so let's hope this summer goes well as well. And yeah, Jen, is that even a question? Yeah, I'd pump them. Absolutely. I don't care. I enjoyed the derby every year, and that's well and good, but sure, we'll see them in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, maybe. They could be facing another points deduction too, meaning that they could actually properly go down. I know we love the derby and the 6 points, Paul, but like someone else will come up from the championship and we'll get the 6 points off them, like Leeds or Leicester, if James Maddison wants to chat shit again. But it is just one of them things. I'd love to see them go down. I really would, because fuck them. It's Everton. But we move on to a couple of other topics. Just to have a quick look here before we get into Everton. Actually, no, I lied. Before we move on to other topics, Menti, there's a question here that I'd throw your way from Abdul here. Hi, Stephen, Presley, Hassan, and Menti, and LFC fans. Forest versus LFC tomorrow. Prediction, breakdown, playing the under-18s to under-21s again, scoreline and lineup. Great to see diversity in the panel. Isn't that nice? We have an Irishman, we have an Englishman, we have an American, and Hassan, I was correct in assuming, I was correct in my, not guess, but you mentioned that you were from Pakistan before. Isn't that correct? Yeah, I was thinking that. I think I remember that correctly. We have great diversity here. All 4 different cultures just smashed together. It's what we love about this team. But I'll throw it to you, Menti, first, then I'll give it to Hassan and Presley as well. Is before we get into the other topics with Salah being out and our title run beginning and all that stuff, give me your predicted 11 for tomorrow and also your score prediction and who's going to be the man of the match.
Okay. Goalie would be Kelleher. Right back, Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson. I think it's going to be is Endo going to be playing, or is he injured? What's the word on that?
He was ill midweek, but McAllister was able to play and Endo is recovering, so they could both be very easily available.
All right. If Endo's available, I think it'll be Endo. If not, I think McAllister will play that 6 role. Clark. I think knowing Klopp, he might put Gomez in the midfield. And then I think it'll be Diaz, Elliott on the right, and then Gakpo down the middle.
Hassan, same question to you. Actually, no, Menti. I need score prediction and I need man of the match from you too.
Man of the match, I think it'll be Luis Diaz. I say 3-1 or 2-1. It'll be closer than we think, but yeah.
Yeah, so as you see here, Nick has mentioned Endo trained today. He missed yesterday. He was out with an illness. That's what kept him out of the midweek game. Plus that and the fact that his legs were as stiff as boards too after playing 120 minutes with the space he covered. Excuse me. Hassan, same question to yourself. Starting lineup, predicted score, and who you think could be man of the match.
The goalkeeper will be Kelleher. Right back Bradley, Konate, and Virgil van Dijk as centre backs. Left back Robertson. In the midfield, McAllister, Bobby Clark, and maybe Szoboszlai. And in the attack, we will have Diaz, Gapco, and Elliot.
And score prediction of man of the match.
Score prediction 3-1 or 2-1. Man of the match will be Bradley.
Just nobody's giving us a clean sheet other than Jen here. My God. And Paul saying 4-0 too. I need a clean sheet for my FPL. I have Bradley in my back line. Presley, give me your predicted 11, your man of the match, and your predicted score, please.
Right, so I've gone for Kelleher in goal. Sounds pretty self-explanatory. And then a back four of Robertson, Van Dijk, Ibu, and Bradley. And then my midfield three, Szoboszlai, Maka, and then if Endo's available, we go for Endo. If not, I think it could be either Gomez or McConnell. And then my front three, I've gone for Gakpo, Nunez, Diaz. I think Elliot needs a rest. So, and then score prediction, 3-0, 3-1. Let's go for it.
3-0, 3-1. Everybody's saying something similar. Yeah. Man of the match then on top of
Man of the match, McAllister, controller, dictates the play.
Yeah, exactly. Plays quarterback in that midfield, especially when he's playing a deep line playmaker. I love it. I'd be very similar as well. I'd have Kelleher in goal. I'd have a back four of Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, and Bradley. And then midfield, if Endo is fit, I'd love to see Endo sat in that 6. I think he's basically just been given the week off to let his legs recover. So I'd like to see him in the 6. I'd like to see McAllister on the right side of centre midfielder. I'd like to see Bobby Clark or James McConnell on the left side of centre midfielder. And then up front, I'd like Diaz, Dans, and Gakpo. I'd like to see Dans be given a start and see what he can do with it.
Gold.
He came on, got 2 goals. First goal was an absolute beauty because that's a stylistic finisher that does that just has an instinct for the goal. Just didn't even look up, knew where the goal was, dink it over the keeper. And then the second one, just a very instinctive catch on a rebound. So I think sky's the limit for him. I think we very much could easily have the Scouse Harry Kane. So, but at least this guy wins trophies. So, hey, look, Harry Kane has 340 goals and about 90 assists in his career, and not a single one of them meant a damn thing. Imagine being that irrelevant in your career. That's just, I cry. That's the equivalent of who am I trying to think of? There's nobody really that you can really compare it to, because most guys that score an awful lot in their sports usually end up winning trophies. Like you think about the likes of Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, like who scores a lot that just never won anything. Maybe Charles Barkley, I suppose, but that might be the only one. Oh, we lost Presley. We'll get him back. Or is he there? No, he's there. Presley's back. But yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there anybody from any other sports that maybe
South
Mbappe
African cricket
won nothing but the Liga? But it's an interesting one with that. Let's just all laugh at Harry Kane because he's a dribbling dope. Dan Marino, yes, that's it. That's the one I was thinking of. Dan Marino, that's exactly the one I was thinking of. Just somebody that plays unbelievably well and wins jack shit. Jen, the injury updates so far are Dominik Szoboszlai and Trent were playing today, and they're in contention for tomorrow. Wasn't confirmed. Endo and Robertson were training later after the press conference today, meaning they should have trained already. Endo, confirmed earlier by Nixus in the chat as well, said he was training today, so Endo's in contention for tomorrow too. Salah's out until at least next week, and then Trent, Alisson, Jota, they're gone until after the international break. Trent and Alisson to come back sooner than Jota. Jota's probably out until the latter stages of the season. He could come back for any of the double game weeks that we have in week 34 or week 37 at this rate, but thankfully he didn't suffer that bad of an injury. But is Kane coming back to Tottenham on rest in Germany? I think he's pretty happy to sit there, considering Eric Dyer got his 12-month deal added on for being Harry Kane's bestie. Met his contractual obligations of fluffing Harry Kane before every game. It's the best way you can put it realistically. But speaking of Salah being out, if Salah is out for next week, Presley, who would you have come into? Would you want him essentially? Would you want him rushed back, or are you happy with who we have at the moment for that City game? We've seen earlier, Hellier was mentioned it's no walk in the park. We can use all the firepower we could get, but would you rather rush him back and re-aggravate it, or would you rather miss that game, sit for the international break, maybe come back and play a cameo in the FA Cup quarter-final against United, because I think we walk United as well, and then just come back really refreshed for that final run-in of about 10 games for the rest of the season?
So I think if we played in, we've only got the United game. I think that's comfortable. We can play that, and then if it's a re-injury, we've got the international break, we've got time. And, Salah's, when is he ever injured? Let's be real. He's rarely injured, and he's of peak fitness. So realistically, I think if we did start him, there wasn't much of an issue. I think he'd be fine. And then if we didn't, I think we've got strength and depth. We've got Elliott, we've got Szoboszlai, we've got Bradley, Nunez, Diaz, Gakpo. We can go without him. But really, myself, I'd play him, risk it. Why not? We've got time.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from in that as well, and I'd kind of lean the same way. But you say, how often is he injured? The one time he does get injured and we bring him back in that excuse me, midweek game, and he gets his goal and assist, he immediately re-aggravates it. Now, there was no real confirmation of what it was. Was it just fatigue, or what was it, or whatever it may be? But Menti, I'll throw the same question to yourself in relation to the Salah news, in that, do you rush him back for next week? Do you go with what we have for that game, considering we're kind of on a bit of a tear at the moment? And do you just let him rest and then come back for the United game on Paddy's Day?
Me personally, I think the way the medical staff works, I feel like they already know that he could come for the City game, just knowing Salah, because you see him training with the team. You see him in the gym. He's always smiling. So it doesn't look like he's too bad. And I'm not too worried about it, because we literally just have to win that City game, because every year we lose to them by 1 point, for 2 years. So it's pretty annoying. That's our most important game. It sounds crazy, and I hope he doesn't get injured. But honestly, he has to play that game. Our defense is great, right? I saw Paul say a comment about Van Dijk and Ibu being our important players. But usually against City, Salah turns up. He has 11 goals in 18 matches against them. So we really do need him against them. And honestly, I think he will play that game, and I don't think he'll get injured. I think he's on track to go for that game.
Yeah, I think he's the same, and it's Forest. And no disrespect to Nottingham Forest. They're a great club, and they have great players, and they are a dangerous side to play away from home. But it's just, would you risk him for Forest, or would you risk him for City? Which one are you going to weigh up a little bit more? Hassan, there's a little bit of a different question for you. There's a question here that came in from Jen. Man City match, and it's the last 5 minutes. We have a penalty. Of the starting 11 that you gave, who's taking it?
This really good, difficult question, because Salah missed, Nunez missed.
Nunez missed. He's hit 20 of 21. That was his first miss.
That was crazy.
Joe Gomez?
No, we're not going to give him the Kai Havertz treatment.
There's one person.
I think McAllister.
Yeah,
that's who I would have said as well. The comments are saying
World
here, the Mac 10. I completely agree. He's a fantastic set piece taker. He's brilliant on the corners. He's brilliant on everything else. And Hellier mentions here as well, with Alisson not being chosen for the international matches, pretty much confirms he's out until at least after them. Yeah, that's what we thought as well, Hellier, that he wouldn't be back until April, and Trent being the same, missing those international matches, which I'm really not upset about, the fact that Alisson doesn't have to travel. He can sit in Liverpool, he can drink his beer, he can cook his barbecue, and he can rest up, and he can be ready for the final run-in of the season. And I absolutely love that. But that is a very hard question. I'll throw the same question to Menti and Presley. Menti, first of all, penalty, McAllister, are you the same boat as Hassan, or would you go different?
100% McAllister. Honestly, like Darwin is just like it's just bad luck. That was literally his first miss.
Yeah.
Like he was hitting the post so much that game. For some reason, I'm like, he's gonna hit the post. It is what it is, but it'll be McAllister just because I think it was last year when he was playing Brighton, when he took that penalty against Man City to win the game. That's when I knew he was a Liverpool player. So I'd say McAllister.
Presley, same opinion, or would you differ?
I'm split. McAllister, he's quality. I think everything's been said about him, but the other one's Van Dijk. The balls he had to do what he did against Kepa. That's the one I was going to say too. The balls he had to do what he did against Kepa. He has confidence. He has the technique. He can do it.
Not only that, like if you're Ederson, right, and a penalty is handed to Liverpool, and you're thinking, oh, it's probably going to be McAllister. This is who I've scouted. And next thing, Virgil van Dijk rocks up in front of you. You're going to be thrown for a loop. You won't know what way he's going. It'll be a mental game as well on top of it. I love that answer because I would have said the same thing. I love McAllister to take it too, but I think Van Dijk could be some shout to take that. Captain walks up, takes a spot kick and pings it into the top of the net. It'd be beautiful to see. But we are going to move on to our next topic, which is in relation to our last run of games, which will be into the title run. Before we do that, though, please make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure your notifications are on for all future streams and videos. We'll be live from 5 p.m. UK time tomorrow for the post-game stream with myself, and then we'll have Richie on from 7:30 tomorrow evening UK time for the regular Saturday night stream, and then we'll have our Sunday night stream at 7:30 UK time as well. So please make sure you have notifications on so you don't miss out on them. But title charge. We are now into the nitty-gritty of the season, and we are now set to face off against. Now, I'm going to pull it up here because I had it up here before, and I'm going to give us our run of the mill of our fixtures for the rest of the season. I'm going to open it up here on the good old Premier League tab. No, I don't want to buy any of your fucking trading cards. I did that when I was 12 years old. I don't need to do it anymore. But I'm going to filter it by just Liverpool. Where are we? Perfect. Right, so Liverpool. Now, I am going to do some very fancy editing here. You get some great... I'm going to share my screen. You don't get this on any other channels. Premier League fixtures, share, and I'm going to come back into here, and we're going to move this out the way. So, everybody can see that. So, that is absolutely beautiful. So, Nottingham Forest tomorrow, Man City the week after. Then there is essentially a 3-week break before we hit Brighton, then Sheffield at home as well. So we have one away game, then 3 home games, which is beautiful, especially considering they're all around the international break. Then we have United away, which I think we'll pump them. And then we have the Crystal Palace game at home. That's the game I'm going to. I can't wait for that. Then we have Fulham away, West Ham away, Spurs at home, Aston Villa away. That may be a difficult one. And then we have the final game of Wolves at home as well. So having a look at those fixtures. What you say?
Where is Everton?
Everton has been removed because it's been pushed. Excuse me. It's been pushed. It's probably going to end up, where am I looking? So we're looking at game week 37, which would be here. So it'll probably be around this time, midweek this time, considering we have a Saturday to Saturday. Or it could be in game week 34 as well, which I believe would be 38, 37, 36, 35, 34. So it'll be between the 20th of April and the 27th of April. Depending on how FA Cup fixtures go, we could be doubling in either one of these weeks here. So between either in the same week as Fulham or the same week away to Villa. So either way, we'll be down the south of the country and then coming back up again for the Merseyside derby. So that hasn't been put in yet, Hassan. That's why that game isn't there. But, Menti, looking at these fixtures, and if you need me to scroll up or down, let me know. Who do you see giving us the most trouble? Outside of the obvious of being City, who do you see possibly giving us the most trouble out of these fixtures?
I would say Tottenham and Villa. For some reason, Tottenham, whenever they come to Anfield, they play pretty well. So Tottenham's probably they just scare me for some reason, man. I don't like them. I know we like bantered them for no trophies and stuff, but against us at home, they're pretty decent. So
they're suffering an awful lot of injuries right now. I'd love to play them right now. They're really suffering at the moment. Richarlison is out for 3 weeks. You have Pedro Porro, who's not good to come back yet. Udogie's still a little bit dodgy at the moment.
We play them late, right? We play them in May, so I think
literally
a lot of
players
will be back. Yeah.
Yeah, but so will ours as well, and we won't
That
be
is
playing
true.
against them with 9 men too at the same time, and they're coming to Anfield. So, like, I think everybody has that
It's a
game penciled
payback.
on their calendar.
Yeah.
Realistically, there's no way that the likes of the defense anyway, the likes of Van Dijk and Konate don't have that penciled on their calendar. Hassan, same question to yourself. Who out of them do you think probably gives us the most trouble?
I think at home we'll have a really good run. I don't know. I have a bad feeling for that United game. They like to park the bus against us.
But
Uh,
they have something to play for now. They're trying to get European football.
yeah,
So
but
they were much lower down last time, and they were absolutely petrified of a 7-0
yeah,
again.
exactly.
But
But
they'll get booed
the
off the pitch if they do that in Old Trafford, though. They sat 11 men behind the ball. They do that in Old Trafford, they'll get thrown out of the stadium, which is why I think they'll come at us similarly to how the likes of Southampton and Luton came at us, and we just ended up scoring 4 on them and 3 on Southampton too.
yeah,
I do agree with you. It could be a bogey game, and for those type of games, form goes out the window. But
yeah.
I genuinely think this is a different Liverpool team than what was way earlier in the season. But I agree with you. United could be a funny one too. It really, really could. Is there anybody else there as well, or is
Villa,
it just United one?
Villa away, and Villa will also be fighting for European places. Uh, and
I think
it
they
will
could have
be a
secured it by
struggle.
that point. Villa, I'm nearly sure, are in 4th at the moment, if memory serves me correct. And I think they're a couple of points clear. I'll check it on my phone now, just to be on the safe side. Because
They're fourth.
unfortunately, as much of a whiz as I am, I can't open 2 tabs at the same time on this.
Yeah, it's 5 points.
5 points
Game in
clear
hand.
with a game in hand. Like, they could Spurs have a game in hand, excuse me. Villa could very easily be sat pretty by that point and not so much not have to play for anything, but they're also in a European competition as well. They're in the Conference League, aren't they?
Now,
This year?
I'm
I
nearly sure they are.
I'm not too sure.
it's
Villa.
Let me see.
Maybe I'm
Villa
wrong.
and Conference.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
so they're in the Conference League. So that could very, like, if they're in a Champions League spot and they have an opportunity to win a European Cup as well at the same time, they might just turn around and focus on the European Cup if the Champions League spot is secured. I'm just clutching at straws here, San. I agree with you completely, though, that United away and that Villa away could be very, very bad games. But as I said, technically speaking, we can afford to at least draw 2 games or lose 1 game. With the way the rest of the season is going. Presley, same question to yourself. Who's the bogey game out of that list?
I've got to agree with Menti. I think it's the Villa and the Spurs games. I think that, as we previously said, they're both fine for top 4. They're both fine for Europe, and especially if we got the Everton game as well, they could easily be fine for relegation in that period. So that could be a lot of high pressure, high intensity games in a very short amount of time. And especially we've got Europe as well. So, and obviously they have a lot of their players back as well. Obviously we will, but it could be difficult against Villa.
Yeah, the form that Ollie Watkins is on at the moment terrifies me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he absolutely terrifies me. He's on fantastic form at the moment, and he's playing fantastic. He definitely should be getting a call up for England, and he should be starting up front, because as good as Harry Kane is, I think Ollie Watkins is on better form at the moment, because
More
Harry
complete.
Kane, way more of a complete striker, and Harry Kane is out the door. But Southgate won't do that, because Southgate loves picking his friends. That's why Henderson will start in midfield and not the likes of Foden, Grealish, Bellingham, Rice, and all those great Irish players that you guys currently have playing for you guys, including Harry Kane, hilariously, considering his dad is from Galway. But yeah, and Nick's here is mentioning we haven't lost a game when Endo starts. If Endo doesn't play, I give his gum shield a run. Oh God, I love the fact that he wears a gum shield. I genuinely love it. It's like a fighter pilot putting his helmet on. He just locks in and goes into a different mode. It's beautiful to see, and it's great to see a CDM putting a gum shield in. You're like, who the fuck is this psychopath? That's the best way that I look at it. It is. For me, I think outside of the City game, I guess that's the obvious answer. Do you want to know what's the funny one for me? I can see it being Sheffield or Wolves, a game you think we're going to walk, and all of a sudden it ends in a 0-0 draw or they get a 90th minute goal. I can see it happening. I've seen it happen too many times as a Liverpool fan. And take, for example, the quadruple season, the draw against Spurs. I remember exactly where I was sat in the pub still to this day when that game went on. And it was that draw. If we didn't draw that game, which was a game we could have very, very easily won, we would have beaten City to the Premier League, and we would have won the domestic treble, at least, with a chance to go on and win the quadruple if Courtois didn't decide to put on the performance of a fucking lifetime in goal.
Wait, was that the game that Tyler Morton was playing for Spurs? Against Spurs? I couldn't remember it was him playing.
I can't remember exactly. I just remember being annoyed.
I'm pretty sure it was him. I remember that match too.
I was really annoyed at that. But look, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you can't really fix any of those things. But Nick's mentioned here, if City lose 2 or 3, we win. There's more chance of Stephen Hawking getting trials for Inter Milan than City losing 2 or 3 games in the run-up to the end of this season. I won't lie to you. But I love the optimism. I would very much love to watch City lose 2 or 3 games. City are playing who at the weekend? They're playing United. Well, if United ever wanted to do us a favour and ever wanted to pull the finger out and have Bruno Fernandes turn into the captain that he thinks he is, this would be the week. This would be the weekend to do it, not roll around on the floor because fucking Haaland looked at you.
Ten Hag complaining all over Sky Sports that he had enough.
Oh yeah,
that he's treating him hard.
Oh, that's just
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Fulham are treating him harsh. Sound, but your wingers like to beat up women, so that seems to be all right with you, though, doesn't it, Baldy? Oh, I can't suffer him. I hope he gets fired. Actually, no, I don't hope he gets fired.
Give him an extension.
Hand him a lifetime contract because Old Trafford is going to fall down around him, and he'll still complain about that Fulham video. Even though they turn around and call the Luton players divers in a promotional video like a week before that. So, like. I can't suffer people that can dish it out, but they can't take it. It's United to a T, and it's really the philosophy that they have at the moment. It's blame everybody but me. Marcus Rashford has more statements than goals this season. Like it's not. He's just United.
They're going to lose a lot. They're going to lose bad this week, and I'm telling you, City are going to pump these dudes. Ten Hag is a fraud. Ten Hag is a fraud coach.
He's not. Shh, don't put that out into the universe. He might get fired. We don't want him to get fired.
If I was United, I would have fired him and hopefully try to use that new manager bounce because get an interim or something. But this dude's gonna. But
the issue is, Menti. Like, look, if you look at it from an impartial standpoint, I'll pull this off the screen now. So I'll stop sharing this and we'll put ourselves back and we'll have a little chat about United because it's always fun to laugh at our neighbours. But realistically, like. Who would you bring in? It's very similar to the same situation as like what Poch have down in Chelsea. Like you can fire Chelsea all they want. They can't afford to fire them first of all because they'll be shafted with FFP and they're already in the shit with that as it is. I hope they get a European spot this year. I hope they scrape a Conference League because if they're in a European spot, they're even further in the shit with FFP. Because I don't know if you know this. So if they get into a European competition, they're under the FFP rules of UEFA, meaning their amortization is over a maximum of 5 years, rather than the length of the contract, which the Premier League allows for all contracts before they made the decision this season. Any future contracts don't allow that. So the 12.5 million a year that the Caicedo deal is costing them immediately jumps to 20 million, and that then multiplies every contract that they have. And on top of that, they also need to build 100 million in funds before they can buy anybody, and they need to do that before June 31st. And the Premier League losses allow for 115 million over 3 years. UEFA's losses only allow for 60 million over 3 years. Arsenal are also up to shit with that because Arsenal reported a loss this year of about 60 million and the year before that. And now, when I say this year, last year, as in this is before the Rice deal and everything like that went through. So for the 22-23 season, they reported a loss of 60 million. And then for the 22-23 so the 22-23 and then the 21-22, they had a loss of about 40 million. So they're on, for the past 2 years, a losses of about 110 million as it is at the moment. So without serious winnings this year and big sales, they spent 160 million on Havertz and Rice alone So they need serious investment into themselves or serious winnings or something to make sure they hit the green by the end of their fiscal year next year, or else they're in the shit for FFP as well. I think we'll have a very profitable summer this summer purely because we will go into it with, I think we only reported a £9 million loss, which is essentially nothing because for tax purposes, you want to report no income, which is why you have a 9 million loss. And that then gets offset by deductibles and whatnot and all fancy accountancy shite.
There was quite a lot of good underlying things with that as well. Like there was the, stadium extension, the new training ground that they added, the extensions to that. So I think, as they mentioned in the article about it, there was quite a lot of positives to take from it as well, especially compared to other clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal. And I think going back to the Chelsea thing, who wants to buy the shit they have?
Well, it's not even who wants to buy it. Fair enough, people will want to buy it. I'd love to get Caicedo. I'd love to get Conor Gallagher. I'd love to get somebody like Nkunku if he got healthy. But the thing about it is they're not going to get the asking price that they sold them for. So they have to sell guys that are pure profit. Conor Gallagher is one of them that's pure profit. But because people know that they have their balls in a vice and they can't sell them for an inflated price, they're going to lowball them. And eventually, and like, that's what's going to hurt them. Like if they turn around and they sell Caicedo for 50 million, that's another 50 million added on to the 100 that they need to build, because now they've made a loss of 100 million on that alone, and then they'd have to buy him out of the contract and everything on top. It's a shit show over there. Nick's mentioning here that the 8-year deals killed them. It 100% did. With Liverpool, with our finances, it was myself and James, the host that's usually on a Wednesday night. We're having a chat about it in the WhatsApp group. Just that Liverpool is the only team, I think, for the 4th year they've been AAA rated, which is essentially the best financial rating that you can possibly get for a team. The likes of City and the likes of Chelsea wouldn't necessarily have those ratings because they're owned by one particular person. The likes of Arsenal and United would have those ratings because they're owned by a conglomerate of people. But the one thing that James was saying he was worried about is possibly the reason that it is that is because a particular type of loan might have been taken out against us, which is similar to what the Glazers would do, being a director loan, meaning that FSG would loan us 250 million and then at any time can pull the trigger and take it back out. Hopefully that's not the case. That's the worst case scenario. I don't think they'd do that, but they're not as stupid as the Glazers, as good as the Glazers are as businessmen. They're horrible with a football team, but that's essentially the nerd part of our live stream over. Here's a question for everybody. Paul mentions it here. Would anybody take Lavia right now for £30 million?
No. He chose to go to Chelsea. Like it is what it is. Like,
take the bias out of it. Take the bias out of it. If he was offered for 30 million, would you take him?
No. Wow. Chose money over glory. He chose money over coming. So he's hardly going to be a player that's dedicated to the club. He's
a young kid, Presley. If you were handed that money as well, like look at Conor McGregor. Like, not a great example, I know, but look at like. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate here. I completely agree with you guys. Like, people say that, he's a young kid and everything like that. Yeah, he chose to go there. Nobody held a gun to his head. Yeah, like that kind of a way.
You're going to be on good money anyways.
And we have better midfielders coming in.
Yes, we do. Exactly. Something I was about to mention here as well, Hassan. Like, we've Endo that could go to 34, 35. We've then Stefan Bajcetic that comes in next year. We've James McConnell who can play the 8 and the 6. Bajcetic can play the 8 and the 6 as well. I think we could mold Ryan Gravenberch into a fantastic 6, in my own opinion. He's the physical attributes for it, and he's an absolute monster. So I really think that we could have him in there as well. But I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I suppose we can just laugh at United over the weekend. Probably the only thing, really. Let's hope that Haaland scores a hat-trick like he scored the 4 in midweek. Watch him score nothing. Watch him score absolutely nothing that I have him captained in my FPL now.
Every time.
Thank you.
He'll score nothing. You know what? I'd nearly take the captaincy off him and put it on either Ollie Watkins or put it on who was in my team at the moment? I'm after forgetting about it now. I nearly put it like Solanke's an injury worry. I still have him in there. Trippier is my first sub. I've Watkins. I've Saka. Do you know, Bowen could get 1 or 2 at Everton. But watch Haaland get absolutely SFA against United.
I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good. He performs good against United. He's talked about it in interviews. He likes playing against them. Hat trick.
What's he up against? Like Johnny Evans?
Dude, it does not
Harry
matter.
Maguire.
After the game that they're coming off, 5 goals. I was watching.
Yeah,
that,
but you see, but again, Arsenal
crazy.
scored a heap of goals, and then all of a sudden shat the bed in Europe and didn't have a shot on target in 90 against Porto. So like it swings and roundabouts. Like you could, as Dan likes to put it, Dan that comes on the stream every time, blew his load early.
No. Arsenal and City are not in the same caliber. Like, I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. City is like, they're just different. Like, as long as Haaland and KDB are playing, you know what they're gonna do. They're gonna go for the goals. They got super technical players. They do what Arsenal try to do with possession, but they're just more lethal and they're more clinical.
I nearly try and be different and just put Saka as my captain, to be honest with you. But then watch him go on blank. I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't, realistically. So I think I just go with what everybody else's decision. Nick's, we answered that question. It was about the penalty with 5 minutes left in the City game, so we got to that as well. Paul, already have him. He's there. He sat there. I've him away to Everton. He loves an away goal. But yeah, I'm more so focusing on that free hit. 29 now is the way my season is going. But guys, we are going to leave it there. We're going to finish up slightly earlier than normal. We usually go to the hour, but it's on 50 minutes now at the moment. Paul mentions here that Gary O'Neill, Steve Cooper, and Sean Dyche are better managers than Ten Hag. Oh, and with that lovely bit of true news. Actually, one more thing Paul has mentioned here. Is it true that Michael Edwards is back? Is it confirmed?
This was my question.
It's not confirmed, but there's too many coincidences for it not to possibly be happening. Our CEO got made CEO of the FSG International Group. Michael Edwards wants much higher than a sporting director role. What better role to give him than the CEO role? On Liverpool's website, Michael Edwards' farewell letter has been taken down for the past week. There's too many things lining up that would lead you to believe that he probably could be coming back. March is apparently meant to be a very busy month on the sporting director and manager front for Liverpool. That's been reported by many journalists, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I would very much love Michael Edwards back. If we got Michael Edwards and Xabi Alonso confirmed within the same month, I think I'd die. To be perfectly honest with you, I think I'd die. But
I think this is the thing. Journalists usually don't know if the things are rolling and they are in regards to us. I think when the journalist came in, I think the wheels are in motion.
Yeah, when it you look at it over the summer last season when we had the only one that everybody kind of knew about was McAllister, because that's the only one that was about in the news. And then all of a sudden, we went to sleep on a Friday evening and woke up on Monday morning and Dominik Szoboszlai was in the Access Centre signing his contract.
It was the Caicedo night. That was.
But see, now, Presley, this will interest you because I have a mate of mine that works on the admin staff of Liverpool who will remain nameless. But he let me know that they were told to hang around after they'd finished their day and get the place set up because Caicedo was coming. So that's how close it was.
Yeah.
He was that close to being a Liverpool player, but then he ultimately chose Chelsea, and we've seen how that's gone. But that's how close it was. They had the place set up for him to arrive that night and get everything sorted, but then obviously it all fell through and he went to Chelsea, which I think we're better for because I think we got the better six at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But we will leave it there, guys, unless anybody else has any other questions that you want to get to before we finish up. But if not, I'll leave it a couple of seconds before we jump onto it, see if anybody else is in the chat and wants to have a little chat. Nobody. No, we have the Michael Edwards one. Perfect. So just before we go, make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Make sure you have your notifications on for all future videos and streams so that you never miss out. We'll be live from 5 p.m. tomorrow with myself for the post-game stream and from 7:30 UK time with Richie for his Saturday night stream. We'll then have our regular stream on Sunday evening at 7:30 UK time as well. I want to thank Jen, first of all, for her 18-month membership. Thank you so much for that. I don't know how you've put up with us for this long. And also, just to put the cherry on top of the cake, the £19.99 that you so generously gave to us as well. We very much appreciate that, Jen. Thank you so much for that. But thank you guys so much for joining us, all of you that were here and engaged in the comments. If we didn't get your question, make sure to join us next time and we will get your question. I hope I got to them all. I tried to get to them all anyway. Are we glad? We have one last one. Are we glad you backed out of Mbappe? Yes and no. Yes, because it just seems like, to be honest, I was hopeful of that deal happening until Klopp left. Myself, I'm sure my panel mates will indicate somewhat similar of a sentiment, but I'm glad we pulled out of it. I think it's a deal that we could very easily go into a new season regretting. I would have loved to have had him. I think it was very financially possible that we could do it, but I'm glad we didn't do it. It's kind of like a luxury thing. But Presley, I'll throw it over to you for the last question of the day, and I'll throw it to Hassan and Menti as well. Are you glad we didn't get him, or are you a little bit disappointed by it?
Mixed feelings. I mean, I think if Klopp stayed, it would have been a different story. I think, as you said, financially we could have pulled it off, but it would have been a lot. And I know Fabrizio did confirm earlier this week that we're looking for a winger and a defender, so it would have ticked a box there. However, it would have been a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. Consider, I think he's getting 150 million of a sign-in bonus, 150 million euro of a sign-in bonus from Madrid, and his salary is 12 million a year after tax. For contrast, that is more than Mo Salah gets from us per year before tax. So just to put that into context for everybody. Hassan, same question to you. Are you glad we backed out? Not that we backed out of it. Maybe we were never even in it. But are you glad that he's not a Scouser?
Yeah, anybody would love to get him. He's an unreal player, but the baggage which comes with him is, I think, not worth it. His salary will upset many players of ours. They will ask for higher wages. I think there was reports that he wants his younger brother also included in the deal. He must come also with, so the whole baggage, the whole spotlight will not, because we have looked at the videos at our players. There's such a bonding and really good spirit. I think he'll not be a good fit for us now, right now, especially.
Yeah, there's always that question of the locker room, and I think, Menti, the one thing that everybody said is, yes, he may be a bit of a toxic person in the locker room, but the one person that could probably change that would have been Jurgen Klopp, and obviously Klopp is now departing us in the summertime, much to our dismay and heartbreak. But are you glad, disappointed, indifferent about the Mbappe situation, or are you thinking let him go to Madrid? Because if you think about it, because Madrid will be because Madrid will be putting so much financial assets into him, they may have to sell other assets. Tchouaméni, maybe?
Nah, I think I'm disappointed. Like, if you have a chance to get a player like Mbappe, like I get that he's toxic, whatever, but yo, it's Mbappe. Like, he would literally shatter every record in the Premier League. It's like my reference in terms of sports is like, you remember when the Warriors were like 73-9 and Kevin Durant went to that team? Like, Mbappe going to that team, like, they're already stacked. They're already winning without you. But like, if he goes to the Premier League and it's like the most dominant league, it's going to be very easy for him. But in terms of the money wise, it's a free transfer. So the signing bonus is a lot. And then his yearly salaries isn't that much. But in terms of like jersey sales or anything, they'll make so much money like on the first date. But I mean, that's the one person I would say break the structure for. And if people ask, oh, give me more money, I give the same output as Mbappe. Then you could talk. That's how I see it.
I get that, and I agree with you to an extent. What I find very funny about this from a financial standpoint is this could actually bankrupt and absolutely detrimentally damage Ligue 1, purely because their TV rights deal is up for renewal and their star boy has just left. The only way that they could possibly get around it and get around FFP as well at the same time, because they're teetering on the edge constantly. But the only way that I've seen that they could get around it is buying their own TV rights. So PSG and their owners have their fingers in every little pie in France. And it would be it's a really sticky financial situation. Watch over the next couple of months now, and you'll see that somebody linked with PSG or an owner that has connections to PSG has bought TV rights for Ligue 1 in France, and you'll see what I mean, because that's the only way they'll be able to get about it, because they're essentially giving themselves money without giving themselves money. It's a way to circumvent FFP. They're very clever fuckers, them guys. But we will leave it there for this evening, guys. We've just hit the hour mark. Thank you guys so much for joining us. From myself, from Menti, from Sana, from Presley, we very much appreciate all the feedback that you give us. And if you have anything that you want us to touch on in other streams, please do let us know, and we will get to it in the other streams. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope everybody has a lovely evening, and we will hope for a victory tomorrow. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.